I walk in, they said he looks good, take him to wardrobe. So we go to wardrobe, they put the coveralls on me with the shirt, with the plaid thing and everything. I come out, they said, oh, it fits. I said, yeah, it fits. They said, get the shoes. Does he have the shoes on? Because they shot scenes with the shoes. And the shoes were a little too small, and I couldn't get them on. So Cliff said to me, if you don't get the shoes on, you can't get the job. So I squeezed my feet into the shoes. They said, oh, the shoes fit, everything is good. I said, yeah. They said, get the bag. I said, what bag? They said, you know the bag. I said, what are they talking about, bag? He said, well, they put a bag over your head. I said, what bag? You mean they're going to cover my... He says, yeah, the whole deal is you wear this bag, you kill all these kids that are having sex. And then at the end of the film, then they kill you, they take the bag off, and there's this grotesque face. I said, so my face is covered the whole... everything? He says, yeah. I said, okay. I said, that's fine. I said, let me see the script. They said, you got no lines. I said, what the hell do you mean I got no lines? I got a bag over my head, I got no lines? He said, I told you, all you do is kill kids that are having sex. You don't talk. I said, oh, so I got the lead role in the film with a bag over my head, I got no lines. All right, I'll take the job. And here I am, 36 years later, signing autographs for all of you. That's how I got the job. Thank you very much.
So, we'll get to you guys in 1 second. You told a story.
What'd you say?
We'll get to these guys in a second. I have another question for you, sir.
Sure, relax.
You told a story in Chicago, sort of why you didn't take part 3.
Right.
And how maybe these guys wouldn't have had the role.
That these guys wouldn't even had a freaking job if it wasn't for me. Because when they did part 3, I did such a great job in part 2 that they wanted me to do part 3. And I said, why do I want? It was a low-budget film. I did it for Paramount. We shot it. It was freezing cold. We didn't stay in campus. We stayed in the camp. The kids, the counselors, they had no heat. It was a terrible, low-budgeted. Paramount was cheap as shit. So I was working on a soap opera at the time. I was working on a Guiding Light with Kevin Bacon. And they called me. They said, we're going to do part 3. I said, what do I want to do that piece of shit for? I'm not doing that. So they said, okay, fine, and they got another guy. Had I taken that job, if I would have known then, what I know now, I would have taken the job because I would have made a lot of money like Robert Englund. Because he was in every frickin' Halloween or whatever the hell he was in. What the hell was he in? Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street, that's right. Nice fella, you know. You know, I could have been everything, and these guys would have been shit. They're shit anyway. It doesn't matter. Especially Kane, who thinks I've been in every freaking one of them, and he's always pulling that bullshit. And this guy underwater, who cares? Go ahead, you could ask them now.
All right, CJ and Kane, let's talk a little bit about the makeup process that you guys went through for your respective Jasons.
I'll be back in about an hour.
Well, let me wake up first after that.
Riveting story.
Yeah. Mine was, at first it was a little more difficult, took several hours, but once it got to the hood, it actually just pulled right over my top, and the front of my face was exposed, and we just greased it out. So it got real simple within the first 2 or 3 scenes up to that point. But at first, as you saw with the grotesque of the face and the teeth and stuff, and the maggots, you know, it was a little edgy, but other than that, it got real easy and simple after that. Until they threw me underwater, then it got more challenging.
So when you had the mask on, there was no makeup?
Did you ask him how he got the job, by the way?
No.
Oh, because I was waiting to find out how he got the freaking job.
Does anybody here not know how CJ got the job? Raise your hand. Okay.
You gotta help these
Well, I'd like you guys to know that I got the job because Steve didn't take part 3. Thank you. Just gotta make sure we square
Son
that
of a
away.
bitch is okay.
I gotta pay my debt. I am similar to Steve. And by the way, you wouldn't have a friggin' job if it hadn't been for me. According to Steve and his story. But I was the second selection, to be fair to the person that did get it, was a stuntman. We did both go out for it, Paramount. Unfortunately, the first dailies came back and he didn't resonate with the quite physique and what they were looking for from the position. I get a call on Friday, go back, and by Monday morning I was on my way to Covington, Georgia, right down the street, about 35 miles. So really simply, it's kind of a Cinderella story, you know. But I knew what I was getting into when they pulled me back to Frank Mancuso's office in Paramount. But I actually was the second selection. There's still one scene to be fully fair, the paintball scene, which is still the other actor that did the shot. But at the end of the day, you know, I think I picked it up, and then I kind of passed the baton off to my brother to the left. How'd you get the job? Sorry to stop you out. How'd you get the job?
Actually, I wanted to ask both of you guys, but you just answered what I was going to ask. Is there anything left in your film that was Warrington? Or, you know, in the final version, nothing?
No, it just...
He never did anything?
He never did anything else. He went through the window, and then they sent him home. They fired him.
Oh, okay.
Serious? No. He couldn't do it. There's a stunt where you dive through the window, and it's all, I'm a stunt guy, and Kane can tell you, it's all sugar glass. You can't get cut. But he was afraid to do it, so what they had to do is they built a rig. They built a rig and swung him into the window. If you watch the movie, you see he comes through the window, and then they cut, and then he comes out behind the fucking wall. I don't know what that's all about. You know, but yeah, no, that was the only thing he did.
And that the paintball is still Dan?
Yeah, the paintball is Dan where the paintball hits, and it kind of disappears through the film because of water and etc. But if you look, the physical structure of that Jason is a little different than mine. But I understand Dan, right?
Yeah.
I understand Dan is going to be very, very successful behind the camera and with other projects, correct?
Yeah, big stunt coordinator. Yeah, you can tell he didn't have to build
Did
his
you
CGI.
say how you got the job? That's what I'm waiting for.
I'm getting to it.
Fucking guys lose their place all the time. You gotta help these people out. What's the matter with you?
Well, I think a lot of people have heard how I got the job.
But these people didn't have.
Have you not heard how I got the job? Raise your hand. See,
There you go.
all right.
It's about half, right?
Okay, I did a movie called Prison.
Say you're sorry.
I'm sorry. Don't want to cross him. He's crotchety. I did a movie called Prison with Ronnie Harlan. We shot it in Wyoming. John Beekler was doing the makeup effects on it. I was the stunt coordinator, and I did all the stunts. And at the end of shooting, Beekler said to me that the person who was supposed to play this character for a couple days in a full body makeup can't do it. Do you mind doing it?
Was it Warrington? I apologize.
Warrington tried out for every job and lost them.
It was actually a makeup effects guy named John Criswell. He was the one that the suit was built on, and he is, I think he's about 5'9", 165, something like that.
You know, I swear to God, I never heard this story.
Really?
All I knew was that Beekler got you the job,
Yeah.
but I never heard the particulars. I'm really interested. Could you tell that again?
It's hard
wanna
to
sit
tell
over
if it's
here?
genuine, but...
Go ahead.
So, Beekler asked me to do it, even though there was no real stunt action involved. He asked me to do it, and I had never done a big makeup like that. It was head to toe, a full body suit, facial appliances, dentures, lenses, and so I said, sure, I'm willing to try anything. So I put the makeup on, took 3.5 hours for everything, and I did just 2 days in the makeup, but I loved acting in that kind of situation because it's a whole different way that you have to act when you have prosthetics over your entire body. And I loved it, and it came across well, and you've probably heard the story that Rennie Harlan asked me to put live worms all over my makeup so that when I come out of the ground strapped to an electric chair, it would look like my body's rotted and worms are crawling in and out. And I said, sure. And he said, then I want you to kind of break free of the bonds and scream. And I said, well, why don't we put worms in my mouth too? So when I scream, they'll come squirming out and that would look creepy. And he's like, you're not serious, are you? And I said, yeah, I mean, I still don't think it's a big deal. Rinsed them off, put them in my mouth, did it. It doesn't really show up on the film, but...
That's disgusting.
But
That's fucking disgusting.
Beekler liked my enthusiasm.
I'm not making out with you anymore.
Beekler liked how I worked in the makeup. The following year, he was selected to direct Friday the 13th, Part 7. And immediately said
What happened to your pants?
he wanted,
You guys got no pants.
can't focus.
You guys got no pants.
It's called a kilt, yes.
He's got no drawers on either. Did you notice?
I noticed that
Why
part.
are you looking? Let Kane finish.
So, you said you wanted to hear it, now you keep interrupting with
I heard this part already
homophobic
17
comments.
times already. I don't.
So Beekler said, I want this guy to play Jason. They actually said, well, we're pretty happy with the guy that played Jason in the last movie. And Beekler had to really fight for me because I think, and not just because he's sitting here, I think CJ did a great job as the character. I really do. And
Calm down, lady. Calm down. Calm down. Calm
so
down, lady.
if it wasn't for Beekler really pushing for me to get the job, I did an audition type thing, a little screen test in a version of the makeup, and I brought in one of my stunt buddies and threw him around and they filmed it.